Good morning and welcome to Super Bowl 58 Radio Roll. I'm Kayla Bradham with Roy Kessel from Sports Philanthropy Network. This is an interview I'm personally passionate about. Kevin Malone, thank you for being here. Kids are not for sale. As a single mom in Milwaukee, 8 kids, what you're doing is something that I'm personally passionate about. Introduce Kids Are Not for Sale.
Well, I was in Major League Baseball 17 years and ran three different teams, and then I feel like God was calling me to be a voice for the voiceless, to fight for kids, protect kids, because a lot of people didn't understand that they were being targeted. There's different types of dangers that are now out there in the world. We used to watch out for other people's kids. We don't do that as well as we used to. So kids are very vulnerable. So I felt like God was calling me to uh, step into this fight and do what I could and protect kids. So I've got two organizations. One's the United States Institute Against Human Trafficking, uh, and it's a nationwide organization. And then Kids Not for Sale is primarily here in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada, and we focus just in this particular area. So we've been doing this for about 10 years on a national level and 2 years here in Las Vegas. So we've got a real problem, especially all over America. American men are the number one consumers of sex from children, raping children in the world. We've got a problem with American men. We need to protect our kids, and I'm doing everything possible, helping to educate politicians so we could change laws, helping people raise money to provide services for children. Uh, I work with teams that do rescues. We had the only boys trafficking safe home in America. What people don't know is Department of Justice says up to 33% of all American kids that are trafficked are little boys. So people don't think boys are trafficked. They are. So we try to do a lot of things, and we try to not only do them ourselves, but collaborate with others in this fight, other nonprofits, other ministries, and position them to have success. So it's a team effort. We do a lot of teachings and trainings and have curriculum, and we try to equip people to get in the fight no matter where you live, what city or town it is in the United States. We can help you get involved and get in the fight.
So, Kevin, let me ask you a question and just help me understand and shed some light on this. I was walking into opening night at Allegiant Stadium on Monday, and over by the media entrance, there were a group of women picketing, saying that sex workers have rights, they deserve to be paid. I understand freedom and democracy and all these things, but yet I also believe that somehow we just continue to
Mhm.
perpetuate a problem with that mindset
Right.
that sex working is something that should be paid, and maybe
Yeah.
how do we continue to
Well,
it's a business, right?
that's a great question because here's what I have found out doing this for 10 years is that 92% of women that are being in prostitution don't want to be in prostitution. They're being forced by someone. They either have a pimp or a trafficker. So most women, again, 92% research shows they don't want to be. You might have 5 to 8%, like you're talking about, uh, and it's people. What people don't also realize is prostitution is not legal in Las Vegas or Clark County. So it happens here, but it's against the law. I mean, you can go to Pahrump or you can go up near Reno, but I'd say if an adult woman if that's her choice, uh, unfortunately, I don't think it's a wise decision. You know, the Bible says we're made in the image of God, and I don't think that that's what's best for you. I would think you'd have other skill sets, other abilities, other than unfortunately laying on your back to make money. I think that's demeaning for you, and but I understand survival, and sometimes women have to do what they have to do. I just wish that they would maybe try to get help to get out of it. So part of what we do, and I know other groups do, nonprofits, is help women, boys and girls, get out of this life, get out of the game, and either help them get jobs, help them find housing, help them take care of their kids, whatever it may be. But I don't think I I really haven't met one woman that was trafficked that's now a survivor. that said she grew up dreaming about being a prostitute or being trafficked. So, yeah, there's a small percentage, but those are outliers. And hopefully they'll find a different occupation.
So let's talk about the problems and the solutions. And thank you for shedding light on that, because I think there's a lot of things that are just a tangled web in this whole
Right.
system,
Yes.
right? And that is one of them. But let's talk about the problem. We're talking about children, they're victims. It's not because their parents don't love them or because they're
Right.
naughty. It's not anything like that. We understand this is a very real situation. It's in every community. We used to think there were certain communities where kids were trafficked from.
Right.
Your experience, I'm sure, is showing that that's not true.
Well, it's not true. To a degree, there are kids that are trafficked from wealthy families, upper middle class, lower class, but there is a larger percentage from the lower economic spectrum. What's happening here in Las Vegas is that the African American community here, 72% of all minor girls 17 and under, are African American. So they're being exploited here for various reasons. Los Angeles County, it's up to 90% of all the trafficked girls there are African American. So we have a problem within the black community that the men aren't protecting their kids, and I've been calling them out. I don't, you know, I'm a vanilla white guy that is, I don't care what color you are, black, yellow, brown, white. If you can help children, if you can protect children, if you can be a voice for the voiceless, stand up, step out, and do something. There's a lot of poverty pimps in these African American communities that talk a good game, but they're exploiting and taking advantage of these communities. And sometimes they don't need a handout; they need a hand up. They need help. And there's different ways we could help families. Oftentimes, it is related to economics, but there are. It doesn't. Child sex trafficking doesn't discriminate. There are, again, kids from all backgrounds. So I think it's just a matter of parents being aware of who their kids' friends are, what social media involvement they have. We found that most of our boys were groomed and recruited on these gaming devices, Fortnite or whatever they are. I've never played them, but these predators can talk to them and communicate with them on these gaming devices. So you've got TikTok, you've got all these things. There's predators, and unfortunately, they're pretty savvy and smart when they're going after a child. They know who to target. They know who's maybe has low self-esteem, who's not getting the attention they need. Maybe their situation's bad at home. These guys are they're masters. And what we're seeing too, it's scary, it's sad across America, is there is a targeted effort on kids that are handicapped. So I don't trust anybody. My daughter just had a baby, 6 months old. I won't trust anybody around here. A coach, a pastor, a priest, a teacher, you name it. I don't trust them, and I don't think until they've earned our trust, because we're living in evil times. It's sick, and unfortunately, I live in that world, and I have talk about it a lot. And when I start talking about it, I see people checking out, walking away, not paying attention. I understand, but you'll be the first one to call me when your daughter or your niece or somebody is being trafficked. So, but it's a major battle, and I just pray a lot too. I need a lot of godly wisdom, because this is spiritual warfare. This is demonic. Any man that pays to rape a 6-year-old girl or an 8-year-old boy, come on. So anyway,
it's scary, because you talk about that trust element, right? You're talking about people that normally in society we would think we should be able to trust, right?
Right.
Teachers, coaches,
right,
clergy,
yes,
whatever it is. And the part that I always find really scary is when you look at some of the largest abuse scandals and everything that goes on.
right,
These are people who are very savvy or sophisticated in how they groom
yes,
the victims, how they earn their trust. So it's
Right.
not it's not that person that looks shady from the outset. It's not
Right.
that person that you think is
Right.
raising the red flags right away, because it's the person that's doing everything right. I remember we've spoken to victims, Olympian victims from the U.S. gymnastics scandals, that would talk about how, they were being victimized because they were body shamed
Right.
and other things. And then Larry Nassar, for example, would come in and knock on the door and say, essentially, hey, little girl, do you want a candy bar? Or do you want something like
Yep.
and earn their trust?
It's really scary. That's why I try to wake parents up and wake up people that are watching kids or taking care of kids. That you just nailed it, Roy. It's just you just can't really trust anybody anymore. It's just you have to do a lot of background work. You have to they have to be referred if they're going to be around your kids. I want to know who else, what other kids have they been around in the past? What's their experience? Because these guys they can change their backgrounds, their identities. I mean, plus there's big money to be made selling kids and selling people.
Yeah.
You can sell a drug once, but you can sell a kid 10, 15 times a night. It's sad, and so hopefully people will wake up and start looking out, not just for your own kids, but kids in your neighborhood, kids at your school, because maybe somebody's not looking out for them, and that's what I think being a good neighbor is. I mean, God says to love Him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, but love your neighbor as yourself, meaning help and protect and love others around you.
So, Kevin, I just want to ask you, maybe for people who are listening, and we live in this, not in my house, not my kid. It's that stuff that happens to other people, not to me. What would be your 3 golden nuggets of advice for parents to just, these are the things that Kevin Malone says parents should.
Say that one more time. I could.
What are your 3 golden nuggets for parents? Your 3 pieces of wisdom.
Okay. Know your kids' friends, and that means also know their parents and know their siblings. So just knowing your kid's friend, know their brother and sister, their parents, and their family as a whole. That would be 1. 2, make sure that your school, the superintendent or the principal of your school, is providing some sort of trainings or curriculum for you to learn about what this is, how to identify a trafficker, a pimp, how to notice if your friend is caught up in this, what to do if you notice it, how can you as a parent become aware of it and then do things to protect your kids. So know your kids' friends, make sure the school is doing something about it. And then I'd say, because we become such a political country now, everything's about politics. Politics is in football, politics is in everything. It's all, make sure that your local politician, that this is a priority for him, that he needs to know what the laws are. He needs to be aware of what he can do legislation wise. And oftentimes these legislators have access to resources, and they can fund trainings or fund certain types of protection. So friends of your kids, teachers and principals, and then your politicians, those 3 would be a great start.
Kevin, I appreciate the way that you're combining the real truth of what's happening with faith, with politics. You're putting it together. You're not ashamed to mix them together because they all relate to each other. Thank you for being here. Thank you for using your platform in sports to create hope and possibility. Roy?
Thank you, Roy.
Kevin, thank you. You're doing such important work. We know the Super Bowl is one of the top events every year in terms of trafficking, and we appreciate you taking time to join us here on Radio.
I appreciate it, and I gave you guys my book. It's not on Amazon, but we have a website for it. It's Malone, my last name, Malone-scoutingtheenemy.com. It's a really good read. It's really about purpose. What's your purpose in life? And if you don't know, it will help you maybe figure it out. It's about hope. It's about family. It's got some baseball stories, some life stories, some happy events, some sad events, and I think it's an enjoyable read. And I appreciate you guys reading. You got to give me some feedback now. So That's the only thing I ask is you let me
Absolutely.
know. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or whatever you think. I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Guys,
guys.
my name is Kayla. I'm here with Roy Sports Philanthropy Network, Kevin Malone, talking about human trafficking and his book, Scouting the Enemy. Thank you for being here.
God bless you guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.